Now, Lowcountry Forever, a public affairs presentation of the Charleston Radio Group.
There is nothing better than local Lowcountry shrimp. And shrimp, our topic of discussion today on Lowcountry Forever. I'm Brian Cleary. The 35th Annual Town of Mount Pleasant Blessing of the Fleet is coming up, and two of the women involved in the planning of this year's event join us today on Lowcountry Forever. The Community Affairs and Marketing Division Chief, she does have chief in her title, Nicole Harvey from the town of Mount Pleasant is with us. And also we're joined by Tracy Richter. Tracy is the Special Events Coordinator and also the Farmers Market Manager for the town of Mount Pleasant. Nicole, let's start with you when we talk about the Blessing of the Fleet. Give us some history. What's the background behind this event?
The Magwood family many years ago had seen maybe the Darien blessing, because there's blessings of the fleets in a number of, not a whole lot, but a number of coastal cities. So years ago, they had gone to one and thought it was a wonderful thing and we should get together in Mount Pleasant and introduce the community to the shrimpers and the fishermen who catch their seafood. And also they wanted a way to give back to the community that supports them. And so the Magwood family has been in Mount Pleasant for many generations. Wayne, of course, an icon, but his father and grandfather too. And so all of them huge in our community for decades. So they started it, and the Magwood, his wife at the time, they tell stories about collecting all the sodas in their garage and boiling the shrimp and the kids selling the sodas at the festival. And so, we've certainly grown from those days. And we were looking out at Alhambra Hall thinking, can you imagine this festival here now? Because, it was wonderful there. But of course, every good thing, it's hard to hold a secret, right? So now we have tens of thousands of people come throughout the course of 6 hours. And really the most important piece of it, we all, of course, have lots and lots of fun, and we have live music and so many great things to do, and it's all free. But the point of the whole day is the boat parade at 1:00 when we have Father Lynn Williams, who is retired from the Port and Seafarers Society, and Ben Carver from Shem Creek Presbyterian, our ministers this year. And they will, as we conduct our boat parade, which is very exciting, we pause and have a moment of silence for each boat as they go by so that the ministers can bless the vessels and the captain and the crew, because it's a hard life out there on the sea. It means a lot to them. This past year, we've seen a lot of the hardship that the captains deal with sometimes. And so it's very special to them. They always tell us that. So we're going to bless them, and we're going to open the season and start getting some more local shrimp on our plates.
Now, Tracy, let's talk about the who, what, where, when, and why. We've got the event coming up on Sunday, April 24th. Share all the great details with everyone.
So it takes place at our Memorial Waterfront Park, which is right at the base of the Ravenel Bridge. We do have satellite parking. So, there's not a lot of parking at the parks. You can park at East Cooper at the Mullis Building, or you can park at our town hall, ride Cardo to town hall, and then you can also walk from some of the areas. There's lots of parking. There's a parking garage and there's some parking lots there. So lots of ways to get there. And there's free shuttles. We have even ADA accessible shuttles from East Cooper Medical Center at that Mullis Building. So there's lots of ways to get there. It starts at 11. We have an opening band that'll play until about 12:30. We have the blessing then at 1:00, and then we have more music and fun afterwards. It goes all into the end of the day.
And this is another event, Nicole, that's a free event from the town of Mount Pleasant. No admission to get in. And that's in part due to some of the great people that you guys have brought along. You've had some good sponsors for the Blessing of the Fleet, and this year, certainly the same.
Yes, absolutely. You all being one. Thank you. We're excited to have you guys on board and live broadcasting the boat parade and the blessing when we do that. But of course, we have to thank Harris Teeter, who has been a phenomenal partner for many years now, as well as East Cooper Medical Center. They are our co-presenting sponsors, and they are just amazing to work with. So we're really grateful for the support that they have shown for so many years for this event. And then we've got a lot of other great people who come back year after year and some new sponsors. So one of our favorite things we added last year is Ashley Home Stores, doing an outdoor lounge again outside of the beer garden and near the merchandise tent where you want to come buy everything's free except your food and your souvenirs. So come buy some merchandise, because that helps support our beneficiaries. The sales from merchandise will go to East Cooper Community Outreach, and Carolina Children's Charity, who they recruit a bunch of volunteers to help us pull this day off. So we couldn't do it without them also.
Today on Lowcountry Forever, we're talking with Nicole Harvey and Tracy Richter from the town of Mount Pleasant. This is Brian Cleary, and we're talking today about the 35th annual Town of Mount Pleasant Blessing of the Fleet happening in Memorial Waterfront Park on Sunday, April 24th, 1 week from today. Tracy, the day is certainly a day for shrimp lovers, but it's also a day for families who like to have fun.
It is. It's a really great day. We have one of the big parts of this that is highly anticipated is our art and craft show. So that's in one portion of the thing. You can come and do lots of shopping with really, really great local artists, has that real strong local flair. We have several of the Town of Mount Pleasant commissions out there that'll have information. Our public services will have some stuff about water safety. Historic Commission will be out there, and you can come and get a free tree. So our planning department is taking part of the take route. So they're going to be passing out free trees. Keep your eye peeled for a very special guest. They'll be roaming around doing pictures and talking about all the different kinds of shrimp and chocolate people might like to eat. Maybe a hint of who it might be. And then in the afternoon, we have a shrimp eating contest. So all throughout the day, you'll have opportunities to buy tickets for a chance to be drawn to compete in the shrimp eating contest. And then after that, we have our Bowers Beach Boogie, which is like a shag dance contest. And that is sponsored by Harris Teeter. Gilligan sponsors our shrimp eating contest. So there's great prizes from both of those. Just lots of other exhibitors kind of walk around and look and see. Of course, check out the sponsors. I'm sure they'll all have a lot of good swag. Some people are kind of partial to liking that kind of thing, like me. So,
of course. And also, I'm glad you mentioned Gilligan's because they have been a phenomenal sponsor and partner for many years as well. And they feed all our volunteers. They feed our captains at our meetings. We appreciate Dan and Gilligan so much.
And one other band that needs to get a little mention here because they've been doing this event for, well, you need to tell me how long, but the East Coast Party Band is going to be performing, and that's certainly a mainstay of the Blessing of the Fleet, isn't it?
23 years, I think. I think this might be, Jack Tankersley would know for sure, but it's 22 or 23, so a long time. I think they were given the key to the festival many moons ago before Tracy and I even started, and this will be our 12th blessing together.
So we've got the Blessing of the Fleet. It's something that everybody's got to be a part of. Again, Sunday, April 24th, Mount Pleasant Memorial Waterfront Park, and 92.5 Kicking Country will have the live broadcast of the Blessing as it happens. Tracy, in your introduction, let's veer off just a little bit for a second or two. You introduced as the manager of the Farmers Market. We're back at Coleman Boulevard next to Moultrie Middle School. Tell us about the Town of Mount Pleasant Farmers Market.
We're so happy to have the market back up, completely full this year. Glad to get everything back to normal. We have lots of fresh farmers that have out there and food products. We're open every Tuesday from 3:30 to 7 through the month of September. Once shrimp season starts, we actually will have someone selling shrimp fairly right off the boat there every day. You can come. We also have other people there selling things ready to eat. One of the Mount Pleasant Seafoods there, and they will steam some shrimp for you. So you can come on Tuesday and try some shrimp, or come the week after the blessing if you come and stay afterwards and do that. Usually live music every week. Maybe not if it's raining, but we usually are open when it rains. So please don't let the weather deter you from coming by, because those farmers, they have to sell that produce.
It's local, it's fresh fruit, it's fresh vegetables, and fresh local shrimp. You got to take advantage of that Tuesdays at the Town of Mount Pleasant Farmers Market. Now, Nicole, we talk about the events that go on. The Blessing of the Fleet is, of course, just one rundown so people get an idea of how much you have going on in the town. All of these free events that people can be a part of throughout the calendar year, all that happen here in the Town of Mount Pleasant.
So, we have amazing things going on all year round. We don't really take much of a breather anymore these days. Tracy and I, we have our summer movie series, Waterfront Music and Movies at the Park, every Friday in August. We have really just amazing Sweetgrass Festival that we've taken over since 2019, when the group that had been organizing that couldn't continue doing it anymore. So they asked us to do it, and we're honored to be hosting the Sweetgrass Festival. That's always the fourth Saturday in July. And we have our Children's Day Festival, which just celebrates the start of fall and everything amazing. In October is always the third Sunday in October. And we have, one of the greatest holiday traditions, I think, ever, which is our holiday market and the Christmas Light Parade, which the Christmas Light Parade is always the second Sunday in December, and the market is the day before that. And actually in the land of COVID, we had to get creative, and find ways for people to still get outside, enjoy some music, enjoy some entertainment, be with your community, but still be safe. So we started getting a little bit creative and hosting these kind of small town hall lawn concerts. They were so well received. Everyone in the community loved them so much. So we do some other little things like that. A trunk or treat event was introduced where we could just keep everyone spread out, control the size. And so lots of fun little stuff like that also. And then, of course, as part of the recreation department, our programs and athletics divisions do amazing things all year long too. Smaller things, Easter egg hunts and things like that. So we are just crazy busy all the time.
Thanks for sharing a part of your weekend here with me, Brian Cleary, on Lowcountry Forever. Joined today by Nicole Harvey and Tracy Richter with the Town of Mount Pleasant. We're gearing up for next Sunday, the 35th annual Town of Mount Pleasant Blessing of the Fleet. It's going to be a great time for you, your entire family. Tracy, this will be taking place at Mount Pleasant Memorial Waterfront Park. For anyone who hasn't been there, what an amazing, gorgeous facility.
They started calling the waterfront park our crown jewel, and it really is. It is just a beautiful park right on the water. The pier was built on the base of the old bridge, so people who haven't been here for more than 10 years might not remember the old bridge. They've maybe seen pictures of it. When they demolished it and built the new bridge, we were able to acquire that land that was the base of the old bridge, and they put this beautiful park out there, and it has public art in there. It's got 2 rental venues, and normally are a gorgeous playground, and of course the pier, which I think is the longest pier on the East Coast.
It was at one time, but not anymore. Now I think it's third.
It is nice and wide and solid because it's as big as 2 cars used to be. It's very wide. And the pier is managed by the Charleston County Parks, and they have a lot of fun events out there also. So we have the rental venue, which is open. Anybody can see it at the Blessing Fleet. That's another kind of point, that building's not always open, the room with the murals. So at the Blessing, it's a chance that everyone kind of can get in there and look at all the buildings and go over to the Sweetgrass Cultural Arts Pavilion and meet some basket makers over there when they're shopping at the craft show, see the playground, just see how walkable that whole park is. It has a paved path all the way around it, so it's really accessible to everybody.
And ladies, in terms of shrimp, if you had one meal to go, one last time eating shrimp, you could only have it prepared one way, what way would you enjoy it the most? Nicole?
Easy. Fried. My grandfather always said seafood should be fried. Now, I love seafood a million ways other than fried, but I mean, fried shrimp, come on.
Tracy, same question to you. It's your last meal. You get shrimp. It's prepared the way that you want, which would be?
Yeah, I'm a peel and eat. I'm a cold shrimp. Yeah.
Good question. I would not have guessed that. She would have guessed fried for me, I bet.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident there'll be plenty of both, and more so than that, lots of shrimp at the 35th annual Town of Mount Pleasant Blessing of the Fleet. If people want to get more information on next Sunday's event, what's the best place for them to go?
experiencemountpleasant.com/play. And also check out the Facebook page, the event page on Mount Pleasant Recreation on Facebook. And there will be lots of information being posted coming up in the next week. We have some social media ambassadors so you can always search for #JustAsk. Why #JustAsk? Just ask where your seafood comes from. It should come from the ocean, if not from Shem Creek.
It's local shrimp and lots of family fun at the Mount Pleasant Memorial Waterfront Park next Sunday, April 24th, 35th Annual Blessing of the Fleet from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. From the Town of Mount Pleasant, Nicole Harvey and Tracy Richter, our guests on Lowcountry Forever.
The Charleston Radio Group is the Lowcountry. Every week, we highlight local organizations and events that are helping to make a difference here where we live. If you have a group, event, or an idea to feature on Lowcountry Forever, let us know. Visit lowcountryforever.com and click on our podcast link for contact information. Now, Lowcountry Forever continues.
Employment, or perhaps unemployment, the lack of employment, it's affecting both people and employers all across the Lowcountry, and it's what we're discussing today on Lowcountry Forever. I'm Brian Cleary, and I'm joined by the local manager of Hire Dynamics in Charleston, Jon Nickalus. Jon, thanks so much for being with us and sharing your expertise today.
Absolutely, Brian. Thanks for having me.
So the question most people, I think, have these days, there are so many jobs available. How did that happen? Why is that?
You know, it's a great question. I think it really is kind of the perfect storm of the economy recovering after COVID and all the impacts of what was going on worldwide. What has happened is really the economy has come back in a great way. Everybody is looking for people to help. It doesn't really matter what industry people are in. And there's just a plethora of jobs available for workers that are looking to either come back into the workforce from maybe being away for various and sundry reasons, or for people who are looking to potentially increase or improve their job situation. And now's a good time to do that.
So is that a situation, it would seem, where the employees have some of the power, or it's a better situation for the employees than the employers? Would that be accurate?
Yeah, right now it really is an employee-driven market. There are really almost 2-to-1 or even 3-to-1 in terms of jobs available for applicants. So for people that are interested in looking at making a job change, or for people that have been out of the workforce or wanting to get back in, now is a phenomenal time to do it.
So what is it that Hire Dynamics does here in the Lowcountry?
So Hire Dynamics is a staffing agency. We represent between 60 and 70 companies here in the Lowcountry, primarily in the verticals of supply chain, manufacturing, and office administrative support. We fill generally long-term permanent positions for companies in the area. Say they may be smaller, kind of mom and pop shops with only 10 or 12 employees, all the way up to, large global organizations that, everybody listening to this show would recognize. And our expertise is recruiting. We partner with agencies to be able to help people find qualified, skilled people that are looking for a long-term permanent job. And we really help connect the dots and are excited to be able to do that every day.
In terms of someone reaching out to you, would an individual looking for a job reach out to you, or would it more be, hey, we're a business, we have some openings that need filled, and that's who would turn to Hire Dynamics?
Yeah, so I'd be happy with either one, Brian. I appreciate your help with that. The people that we work with are both companies, right? So we service our customers. They'll call and place an order for what kind of positions they need to have filled. And we're obviously happy to do that. And we've got salespeople that are out every day looking for new opportunities. We also have people that find us online through social media posting, or driving by on Ashley Phosphate Road and they see our sign and just walk in the doors. And we're happy to help people find a job, or, often we can be a great way to get somebody into a company here in Charleston that they may not know how to apply for or how to be able to get in the doors, and we can help make that happen.
So someone who might be interested, whether they're on the employee or the employer side, talking with you, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Our phone number is 843-277-6900. That's at the Hire Dynamics office here in North Charleston, so that's super easy. You can also find us online at hiredynamics.com. Again, www.hiredynamics.com. And we also have an app. And if people are interested in apps, right, like everybody loves an app, our app is Work4HD. So WORK, the number 4HD. And you can contact us in any of those ways. Or again, just walk by our office.
We're talking about the job market here on Lowcountry Forever. I'm Brian Cleary, joined by Jon Nickalus. Jon is the market manager for Hire Dynamics here in Charleston. So let's start pecking away at this. Let me start from an employee side. First of all, are the days of company loyalty gone? Used to be that, your dad got a job, he worked for a company for 35 years, retired, that was it. If I'm entering the job market or part of the job market, does that exist anymore?
So I think it really depends on what people's motivation is.
Okay.
Would companies love to have a 20 or 30-year employee walk in their front doors? Absolutely. And I believe that there are still those companies out there that would love for people to do that. If you can get in a company and work your way up and get into the position that you're after, I do think that's still valid. But I do think that there are people in the workforce today that feel like the best way to advance their career is to work somewhere for a couple of years and then take an opportunity with a new company and work there a couple of years and so on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I would caution against is if the frequency of changing jobs gets to be more than once a year, employers may look at that with some skepticism.
What set of skills, or is there one more than other right now that's, we've seen it throughout history that you go through different times, and boy, if you've got this skill, you're going to get hired immediately. Is that the case now, or is it not really that simple?
I know. So if I could be a little humorous here, what I would say is if you're breathing and you show up to work on time every day, then you're a great employee.
All right.
Because I hear that from my customers, right? Like, man, I just need somebody to be here every day. Obviously, there's a little humor there. What I would say from a skill set standpoint is, man, if you're somebody that has a good attitude and wants to work, there's a job for you out there in the Lowcountry. And it really doesn't matter what industry it is, whether that's food and bev, the hospitality industry that we know is such a huge part of Charleston's economy, whether that's manufacturing and supply chain, which also is booming in the Southeast and, really like throughout kind of the whole country. So almost across any industry, man, there's just opportunities for people who are ready every day to go to work and want to do a great job.
So let me go back to the humorous part, because obviously some employers have brought that up to you somewhat jokingly, maybe not. Is there truth to that, though? And if so, do you have any insight, and I don't know whether you would or not, as to why that has happened, that the quality of the employee, is it really lower these days?
I don't know that I could answer that for certainty. What I can tell you is there are some things that make the job market a little challenging, man, especially as you go fill your car up with gas and it's like $4 a gallon, right? So there are some things that companies will do to incentivize or to recognize, man, the economy kind of moves up and down, and sometimes it is harder to get to work. So what I would say for companies that might hear this is think about creative ways to encourage your employees or to encourage hiring, whether that's streamlining your application and interview process, if it's maybe reaching out to a non-traditional labor pool, or considering the upscaling of your current employees to move them into roles that you're having a hard time filling. Those are some strategies that companies can use to really help in an environment where, like, there are times when it may be pretty difficult to, like, get somebody to apply for your job or to get them to come to work.
Somebody who's an entry-level person, maybe coming out of college, coming out of high school, when you look out there, is it just fast food jobs, convenience store things, hospitality jobs? Are there other positions out there, good positions that I can apply for?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I will tell you, it's one of the things that we've talked about in our office yesterday was, man, how do we tap into college students who are here on spring break or about to be done with school and need something for the summer before they go back, or even high school graduates? And that's where I would say a service like what Hire Dynamics does as a staffing company can be a real asset, because we do offer a host of jobs. And I mean, some of our companies even do seasonal positions where they're looking for help. And it may be 12-hour shifts, 2 or 3 days a week. It may be, man, I'm looking for somebody that can work a 10-hour shift 6 days a week for the next 8 weeks, which would be ideal, obviously, for a student that's looking to get into something. So that's where I think a staffing company can really help in some of those instances. While I don't want to take anything away from the restaurant industry, because, man, those folks need people as well.
Yes.
And we all know that. For people that think, okay, well, what does a manufacturing job look like, or what does a warehouse job look like, and what do those jobs pay? Most of our customers are starting people out in that $13, $14, $15, $16 an hour range, and those are great jobs.
We hear a lot about the expense of college. You go, you get your degree, you're just socked with loans forever and ever. But obviously a college degree does make a difference in employment. Have we gotten away from trade schools and those kind of jobs? And is that an area of opportunity for someone coming out of high school?
I really think that trade school and the ability to learn a craft has been overlooked a little bit for a company that's in the automotive industry or in the aerospace industry. And we have lots of those here in Charleston. They need somebody that's got some skills that you may not learn at a 4-year school, but at a technical school where you're kind of getting hands-on would be an asset. So I do think that there's really an opportunity for folks that would like to be hands-on and learn a craft that maybe the technical colleges do get overlooked a little bit, and that's a great way to go.
The employment market is up and down. It's a challenge here in the Lowcountry. You see hiring signs all over. That's why we're talking about it. So we went to an expert. Jon Nickalus is the market manager with Hire Dynamics. Jon, you're working on both sides, the employee side and the employer side. Let's flip over to the employer side a second. You mentioned a couple of things that maybe employers might do to encourage people. Can you look into that a little further? So I've got a job opening. What is it that I could do to help myself get that quality employee?
So as a shameless plug, the first thing I would say is contact Hire Dynamics.
There we go.
We'd love to help. The real answer is there is no silver bullet to recruiting right now. You cannot just post an ad online and think that you're going to get all these great applicants. Diversified approach would be the thing I would suggest the most. You mentioned you can't drive around town without seeing signs about who's hiring. For filling positions, you really do have to have kind of a multi-tiered approach right now, where in years past, when the market wasn't quite as wide open, maybe a job board would get you the positions that you need. Now you may need to do something like a job fair or promote some kind of sign-on bonus or a hiring incentive. Those would all be things that I would encourage people looking to fill positions to check out.
So the unemployment rate is low if you look at that 3 point whatever, depending on the government figure. And there's all these jobs open. it kind of seems like, wait, one or the other has to be wrong, but can they both be right? And if so, where are we going then?
Yes, and that's the challenge that we're faced with as recruiters every day is, well, how do we find that population of people that's out there that's going to fill all these openings? And it really is a challenge to put that in front of people. What I would say, at least I know on our side, is, man, referrals is the best way to go.
Okay.
So if you're a company looking to hire, ask your employees, hey, who do you know that's looking for work? That's a big thing that we promote. It's a referral bonus thing. In fact, that's kind of our tagline is Hire Dynamics. We want to be the number one company you'd refer to a friend. Well, yes, that's valuable, but man, referrals is such a great source for filling openings. If you haven't done that in terms of your current workforce, that's the first thing I would do.
And let me ask you from an employee standpoint. So I'm looking for a job. One, how important is my resume these days? And two, what about my social media profile? How careful do I need to be about that? Because isn't it true that people, if I'm looking to hire you, Jon, I'm going to look at your Facebook page?
Yeah, so great question on both fronts. So I'll tackle the social media aspect first. It is important, and companies do look at it. So I would say if you're looking for a job, or if you have a job and you want to keep the job you have, be careful what you put on social media. And then in terms of the resumes, a resume is important, but it's not a requirement in order to get a job. We have plenty of customers who will hire somebody that doesn't have experience, that doesn't have a resume. But again, they're looking for an opportunity to get in with a good company and like show up every day and get a job done. So the further you move up in terms of the skill set that's required or the more technical a job is, the more important your resume will be. And, I'm kind of a stickler for give me bullet points and no more than 2 pages. So that would be my suggestion on how do I polish up my resume.
So one more thing for me is I'm coming in, I want to get this job. The interview, I have to think, is pretty critical. Can you give me a couple of tips? I'm nervous going in, Jon. I want to impress you, but what is it that I can do to really cut through and put myself above?
Yes. So great question. I would say 3 things. Number 1, be prepared. So we tell everybody that we talk to that's going on a job interview, look the company up online. You can find almost everybody online. Know who they are, know what they do, know where they're located. So like you're not late to the interview, right? So look them up online. And the second thing I would say is, what are you wearing to the interview, right? Like we've had people that have gone to a job interview not in the right clothes and they've not gotten the job just because of what they wear. It's important, right? It's an opportunity for you to earn a paycheck, and you can't go to work and wear the same exact thing, at least in some industries, that you would sitting at home watching Netflix. The third thing I would say is tell the truth. In a job interview, if you oversell your skill set and then the company takes you out and puts you on a computer and says, hey, do this for me, and you can't do it, they're not going to not hire you because you can't do the job. They're not going to hire you because you didn't tell the truth. So even if it's something that you feel like may be questionable, if you're honest and you don't get the job, then that's just not the right job for you.
And as a job seeker, I can reach out to Hire Dynamics where you do work on the employer side, but as somebody looking, you're a resource that I could use?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Hire Dynamics, staffing company here in North Charleston. The 3 verticals that we primarily recruit for are supply chain, warehouse distribution, manufacturing, and then office administrative jobs. So we can't put everybody to work that may not necessarily fall within that expertise, but we'd love to be able to help out in any way that we can. Phone number is 843-277-6900. And again, I would say there's lots of options out there for job seekers to pay attention to. The location, right? If it's closer to your house, it's probably going to be easier for you to get to and from work. The shift that you're looking for, make sure that it's a shift that you can work and you've got childcare or whatever things in your household will impact your ability to get to and from work reliably. That's important. And then the pay, right? Like it's an opportunity for people to evaluate with especially as many open jobs as there are out there. Make sure that you're stepping into something that meets the needs of your family financially. And those are good things to keep in mind.
And if people want to contact you either online or you have the app, right?
Yes. Our website is www.hire higherdynamics.com. And our app is Work4HD. Work for HD.
He is Jon Nickalus with Higher Dynamics in North Charleston, talking jobs today on Lowcountry Forever.
Thanks for listening to Lowcountry Forever. If you missed any of this week's show, there's a complete recording under the podcast link at lowcountryforever.com. Lowcountry Forever is a public affairs presentation of the Charleston Radio Group.